and let's talk about NVIDIA first.
Yes.
We got a two-parter for NVIDIA today.
And second, all right.
Yes, so first, NVIDIA is announcing a multi-year partnership with Meta. The deal will see NVIDIA supplying the social media giant with its GPUs and CPUs.
Yeah, key.
And NVIDIA is bouncing back a little bit today. I don't know if it's just because of that or also just because we're seeing a broader bounce back today.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And chip stocks have done well this year. Software has done terribly, but chip stocks, they tend to go up this year. But let's get to the points. This has to do with millions of NVIDIA processors. And you said something key here. These are CPUs, not these GPUs. And NVIDIA has been branching out. So this is the first large-scale Grace CPU only. Grace is the CPU offering for NVIDIA. That's a first deployment at a major hyperscaler. They also have a Vera line that would be the successor to Grace. That would be the future. And this is just designed for broader data workloads. And so NVIDIA is trying to control the whole stack. They're not just doing the GPUs. They've got the networking. They got the CPUs. But importantly, too, this is not just an exclusive for NVIDIA. Meta is still potentially shopping its own chips. And if you're that size, you can just do that in this day and age. You can hire chip designers and you can build your own stuff. Google could be an option, although the TPUs are not a substitute for CPUs. And then there's a read-through into some of the NVIDIA competitors like Intel and AMD. So if we go to the Wi-Fi Interactive, I think it's not a coincidence that AMD here is down, that little red rectangle right there. Intel, I'm going to circle that. It's at the bottom. That's up about 2/3%. It is underperforming the SOX. That's kind of the broad chip index. But nevertheless, Intel is positive. And then you've also got Arista, which makes the networking components. That's kind of in the mix as well. So this just seems to be a big deal for NVIDIA, kind of strengthening its position as, the big one, the big 400-pound gorilla in the semiconductor room. And it's not just GPUs anymore. I did want to point out one thing for NVIDIA. Here's a one-year chart. NVIDIA has been going sideways since the middle of last year. So this is just a bunch of noise and doesn't really mean anything until we break to the upside or the downside. And today is not that catalyst.
And one more reminder on NVIDIA. Remember, it always reports late in the earnings season.
Yes.
1 week from today.
Very good.
The close of trading. So we have that to look forward to. Okay, here's the second part of NVIDIA now. ARM is the one that's related to that. Shares in that chip designer, they're in the green after NVIDIA sold off the last of its stake in the company. NVIDIA, remember, had tried and failed to buy ARM 6 years ago. It was a $40 billion deal, but it broke down over regulatory concerns. It's interesting that ARM's trading higher after this. I mean, I guess
chips go up, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, do we know, they also, maybe it's not a shock.
Yeah, I was looking for a reason. And so you got to kind of read between the lines here, but let me outline the background. As you said, 2020 to 2022, NVIDIA was trying to buy ARM. And then we just learned through a 13F filing that sometime in the fourth quarter last year, NVIDIA divested all their shares. So this is real world, this is, looking in the past already. What's the read-through here? NVIDIA, I think, is effectively saying we don't need to own ARM to benefit from ARM because they've been highlighting their partnership with ARM technology. ARM licenses their IP, their intellectual property, to the likes of NVIDIA, and NVIDIA has deployed this in a lot of their chips. And I think NVIDIA wants to keep that partnership alive. But ARM has also been making noise that they're going to design their own products and compete with NVIDIA on a few different fronts. And so that could be a little bit of an awkward position for NVIDIA to have this huge stock ownership in a competitor. So it could be just that it's a clean break, but clearly NVIDIA still relies on ARM in their technology.
As investors reposition themselves in anticipation of the chipmaker's fiscal fourth quarter earnings later this month, NVIDIA shares increased by almost 2% on Monday morning. The action was taken as recent volatility related to valuation worries was countered by optimism regarding artificial intelligence spending. According to Jim Schneider, an analyst at Goldman Sachs, recent conversations with investors indicate that investors have high expectations for the earnings announcement on February 25th. He cited increased capital investment plans from U.S. hyperscale cloud enterprises and consistent demand signals from chip vendors. Schneider anticipates that NVIDIA will report better than expected numbers. He predicts higher than expected sales and earnings into the first quarter of fiscal 2026, and forecasts fiscal fourth quarter revenue of close to $67.3 billion, which is above consensus predictions. The analyst went on to say that short-term share performance might depend more on how much visibility management provides into revenue growth in 2027 than it would on expectations for 2026, which seem to be mostly represented in the stock. Investors are anticipating 2027 and are looking for concrete indicators, such as insight into revenue trends, the timing of the Rubin ramp, China's involvement, momentum with non-hyperscaler clients, and steady margin growth. Whether Nvidia's premium value is warranted into the following year will ultimately depend on management clarity on these issues rather than short-term beats. Investors are also expected to pay attention to demand from sources other than the main cloud providers, such as OpenAI's early installations and activity related to independent AI projects. Citigroup analysts upgraded Nvidia and encouraged investors to increase their holdings before the anticipated outperformance in the second half of 2026. The Street's forecast of $65.6 billion for January quarter sales was lower than Citi analyst Atif Malik's prediction of $67 billion. Additionally, the bank forecasted $73 billion in revenues for the first quarter of April, which is higher than the $71.6 billion everyone else had estimated. According to the forecast, Nvidia's Rubin and B300 platforms will continue to expand. Citi predicts a 34% increase in calendar second half 2026 sales, up from 27% growth in the first half of 2026. Investors are also anticipating Nvidia's annual GTC conference in mid-March, where the company is expected to present its inference ambitions and provide an early look at income from artificial intelligence in 2026 and 2027. According to Citi, operational expenses would increase by about 30%, and gross margins would be approximately 75% in fiscal 2027, which is consistent with trends from fiscal 2026. The bank went on to say that concerns over hyperscaler capital expenditures are exaggerated, and that long-term investments in AI infrastructure may contribute to an increase in cloud income. It maintained its $270 price target and buy rating, stating that demand data after 2027 encourages further expansion. The social media behemoth will receive millions of Nvidia's Blackwell and Rubin graphics processing units, GPUs, central processing units, CPUs, and networking products as part of an extended multi-year, multi-generational relationship between Nvidia and Meta. According to the idea, Meta will run and train AI models using the items in its data centers. Nvidia stated that Meta will implement the chips in its own data centers and rely on those offered through Nvidia cloud partners, but it did not provide a monetary value for the enlarged agreement. Companies like CoreWeave and Crusoe, which host Nvidia chips for other businesses to rent and utilize, are part of Nvidia's Cloud Partner Program. Join our investor community. Hit subscribe and like to get your daily Nvidia stock insights and tutorials delivered. In a statement, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said, "No one deploys AI at Meta's scale, integrating frontier research with industrial-scale infrastructure to power the world's largest personalization and recommendation systems for billions of users." On Wednesday, Meta shares fell, while Nvidia stock increased by more than 1%. "We are providing the whole Nvidia platform to Meta's researchers and engineers as they lay the groundwork for the next AI frontier through deep code design spanning CPUs, GPUs, networking, and software," Huang stated. Nvidia reported that Meta is introducing its first large-scale Grace CPU-only servers in addition to the GPUs, with plans to introduce Vera CPU-only systems in 2027. These would resemble the more conventional servers that Meta uses, which are powered by Intel CPUs and do not have any GPUs. Intel and AMD, who have controlled the CPU server market for decades, may find that kind of move difficult. Additionally, Meta's WhatsApp messaging service will make advantage of Nvidia's confidential computing, which allows confidential data processing through its GPUs. Since the beginning of 2026, AI-related equities have suffered because to ongoing spending concerns. The price of Meta's stock has dropped 3.3%. Particularly heavily impacted is Microsoft, whose stock has dropped more than 17% since January 1st. In recent months, semiconductor prices have also declined, as investors have questioned whether all AI applications require powerful GPUs or if more specialized chips will eventually replace them. With the release of newer models of their own AI chips, Nvidia's clients, such as Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, have increased their concerns. The information revealed in November that Meta and Google were negotiating the usage of Meta's TPU chips for artificial intelligence applications. While rival AMD's stock has dropped more than 5% so far this year, Nvidia's stock has dropped more than 1%. Because GPUs can be used for a wide range of AI applications, while chips like Google's TPUs and Amazon's Trainium processors have a more constrained range, analysts say it's unlikely that Nvidia would lose its dominance in AI to other technology. The growing alliance between Nvidia and Meta platforms may be a sign of trouble for Intel. In what the chip manufacturer referred to as the first extensive Nvidia Grace-only deployment, Nvidia said on Tuesday that it will put more of its ARM-based Grace CPUs into Meta's data centers. Tasks like executing agents and apps take up the CPUs. Richard Windsor, the founder of the research group Radio Free Mobile, sees the increased collaboration as evidence that the data center's transition to ARM is quickening. In an interview, he referred to the transaction as a Intel killer and said that was even worse news for Intel, whose x86 CPU architecture rivals ARM's own. According to Windsor, ARM-based processors have frequently failed because they are incompatible with data center legacy software systems, whereas Intel has long held a dominant position in the server chip market. Windsor pointed out that, based on Nvidia's Meta deal, that's probably going to be a thing of the past. As promotes a comprehensive suite of products for the data center, Nvidia, which is most recognized for its graphics processing units, has been gaining headway with CPUs. Since CPUs are necessary to run data centers, the server chip market has generally experienced a resurgence. Windsor pointed out that as concerns about electrical grid capacity grow, Nvidia's CPUs provide Meta's data centers with an advantage in performance per watt, which is becoming increasingly important to the data center build-out. Windsor stated that the emphasis has also been on chip optimization as Meta and other hyperscalers look for solutions to the electricity bottleneck, which is where ARM-based CPUs outperform Intel's x86. Windsor stated that he anticipates Meta utilizing both custom silicon and Nvidia's off-the-shelf systems, and that the shift to ARM-based CPUs also gives an opportunity for additional server chip manufacturers to participate in Meta's goal to spend up to $135 billion this year. As a result, Windsor stated that he anticipates further agreements in the coming months with chip manufacturers who create ARM-based data center processors, as well as with businesses that create and implement specially designed chips for inference, or the process of executing AI models. Windsor pointed to Intel's personal computer and data center chips, saying, "Intel is the real loser here, as it is now open season on all of its main product lines." On its earnings call last month, Intel stated that in order to meet the enormous demand in its data center segment driven by AI, it had to reallocate capacity away from its PC business. Windsor believes that if the chip manufacturer introduces an ARM-based CPU for PCs and servers, advanced micro devices, its primary CPU rival, could be the last straw for Intel. Jordan Klein, a trading desk analyst at Mizuho, stated that he believed AMD was better positioned to satisfy customer demand for data center chips due to the strength of its cooperation with Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company after Intel announced its supply shortage in late January. Klein added that hyperscalers choose AMD's server CPUs over Intel's. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
So we have the 1 trillion addressable market 2035, but digging down into the notes, actually, autonomous driving is a really big part of this for you.
That's right. Our latest research shows that physical AI could really become a $1 trillion market by 2035. That's 10 times higher than where the market is currently valued at. And that $1 trillion estimate spans 4 key robotics categories: autonomous vehicles, humanoid robots, advanced automation, and in drones. And look, while I have really strong conviction that the late 2020s and early 2030s will be the decade of the robot, I also think that growth and adoption will likely come in stages rather than all at once. I can see how autonomous vehicles could lead the trend and set the stage. And in fact, nearly half of that estimate of the market growth comes from autonomous vehicles, or in dollar terms, that's about $500 billion by 2045. I think also intuitively, this makes a lot of sense because autonomous vehicles clearly have a head start. The technology has been around for nearly a decade now. The production process is there. It can leverage an existing automotive supply chain. And I think more importantly, the AI models needed for autonomous vehicles can work with a much bigger real-world driving data set that's collected from millions of vehicles out there. And that's a very different story if you compare it to where humanoid robots are at the moment.
So if you follow the arc of what happened with autonomous driving, what needs to happen for humanoid robots for them to make a meaningful contribution to your $1 trillion forecast for addressable market by 2035?
I think the number one challenge that humanoids face right now is the lack of physical AI data. And that's because when you think about humanoid robots, they really bridge the gap between the cognitive, the digital, and the physical world. And in the physical world, the laws of mechanics and physics apply. A humanoid robot needs precise instructions if it's going to function and perform properly in an unstructured world that is made for humans. Take a simple example such as lifting a box. This is a very simple task for us humans. We have inbuilt dexterity. We have inbuilt intelligence. We know exactly what we have to do. But a humanoid robot needs precise instructions. It needs to know exactly how much force to apply, where to apply that force. And that simple example can get really tricky if something changes. If, for example, the box is actually heavier than expected, if the surface is slippery, that means that the robot needs a new set of instructions. And the challenge is that there is no dictionary out there. There is no single database that can tell us, look, for a 50-pound box, you need this amount of energy, this amount of force. All that needs to be built from scratch in order for the technology to scale and to become more useful in the